Now it's time to look at building a family engagement work plan. The concept of continuous improvement suggests that we should constantly be looking at how to make ourselves better rather than sitting on our laurels or assuming that good enough is good enough and not asking ourselves questions about where we could improve. And when we're trying to infuse our organizations with a culture of continuous improvement, the best place to start is with assessment. We're going to be looking at the Strengthening Families self-assessment since that aligns to QRIS requirements. You want to evaluate first and then communicate with your team or staff based on the results of that evaluation, and then co-create, which means looking at those results together, be creative about how to make a shift, how to impact the results or outcomes, and how to make the program better. That creative process is essential to the success of the entire continuous quality improvement cycle. Once you've figured out what it is you think will make the biggest difference, then you want to make sure to set a goal or multiple goals. And we'll take a closer look in a minute at what team goals mean, but you're going to want to have a team goal, which is a similar concept to a SMART goal if you've heard of that before. Once you have the goal in place, the next step is to create a plan. A step-by-step plan for who's going to be responsible for what and how you're going to roll out the goal and make it into a reality. And once the plan is in place, then it's time to implement the plan. After you've implemented the plan, you want to ask yourself how this whole cycle went. Was it successful or not? And where were your successes? And what might be the cause of some of the challenges or barriers? And then you start all over. You go back to the beginning, you assess again, and you choose a new thing to work on. And that is the cycle of continuous improvement. Before diving into trying out the Strengthening Families program self-assessment, it's helpful to understand a little bit about the tool, where it came from, and what it is. And the Strengthening Families approach is founded on the idea of 5 protective factors. The idea being this tool is here to help prevent child abuse and neglect. And there are these 5 protective factors, these 5 elements that healthy families have. So if all 5 protective factors are strong, the risk of child abuse or neglect within the family is much, much lower. The 5 factors, the first one is parental resilience, which is the ability that the parents have to bounce back when something tough happens, like a setback in career or a job loss or an illness. The second is social connections, which is having a strong network of friends and family and other supports that are available to you when you need someone to lean on or talk to. The third is concrete support in times of need. So that means if the family runs into challenges around food or shelter or warmth or other essential needs, that there are clear, straightforward, user-friendly ways to get that resolved. The fourth protective factor is knowledge of parenting and child development. So the skill set to do a good job in the day-to-day business of raising children. And last is child social emotional competence. So this is the child's ability to be self-aware, to self-regulate at a developmentally appropriate level, and the family's ability to identify and seek support for any challenges or diagnoses as early as possible in order to help set that child up for success. So once you understand the 5 protective factors, the next thing to understand about the Strengthening Families program assessment tool is that the research behind this Strengthening Families tool suggests that if programs want to help strengthen these 5 protective factors, there are 7 key strategies that programs can use to do that. So we have the 5 protective factors. Those are elements of a family that determine if that family is at risk or not at risk for abuse or neglect. And then there are the 7 key strategies that programs can put in place in order to help prevent abuse or neglect by strengthening those 5 factors. So the 7 key strategies are as follows. First is to facilitate friendships and mutual support. Second is to strengthen parenting. Third is to respond to family crises. Fourth is to link families to services and opportunities. Fifth is to value and support parents. Sixth is to facilitate children's social and emotional development. And seventh is to observe and respond to early warning signs of abuse or neglect. So there are these 7 key strategies, and the Strengthening Families program self-assessment tool is designed to help you identify where in these 7 strategies you're strong and where you could benefit from some work or some growth. Pretty cool, huh? So when you complete the Strengthening Families self-assessment, you want to do the following things. First, go through the self-assessment and complete it. Sometimes you'll do this individually. Sometimes a whole team will gather and discuss each question and decide together where you feel that you should be ranked on each individual question. But regardless, you're going to notice what areas you feel could benefit from improvement. Once you've done that, you want to think concretely about what are the most practical and realistic areas for improvement for your program. Depending on the size of your program and the types of resources available, it may not be possible for you to do all of the stuff that's described in the Strengthening Family Self-Assessment. In fact, it might not all be a part of your mission. So choose the ones that are going to be most relevant and most beneficial. Make sure that they align and they're appropriate to the mission of your organization and the population that you serve. Then ask yourself which ones are going to be most likely to have a positive impact on the quality of your program. And ask yourself where you feel you'll be able to make a lasting, meaningful change. And continue thinking about all these questions until you narrow the list down and choose a goal to work on first. Generally speaking, it's a good idea to not overwhelm yourself with 1,000 goals, but just to start with one goal or a couple of goals to work on first. In order for a goal to be meaningful to your program, it has to have certain characteristics or qualities. There are different frameworks for understanding these characteristics or qualities. SMART goals is a pretty common one, and this is another one that we find to be very helpful. It's called team goals. So team goals have 4 characteristics. The first is there's a time limit. So they have a start date and they have an end date. There's a clear, obvious time frame. The second is that they are exciting. This means that the people working on the goal care about the goal because they can see how it's going to make a difference to the quality of the program or to the lives of the children and families you serve. Third is that it's achievable. It's not this insane pie in the sky, we're going to completely revamp our program and pretend that we have a limitless budget type of a goal. It's something that is realistic not only in general, but it's specifically realistic within the world that you live and operate in. So remembering all the other duties and responsibilities that you and the rest of the staff at the program have, you still feel that it would be possible to achieve this goal within the time frame. And last is that it's measurable, meaning that at the end, you're going to have a concrete way of determining success or failure. So if the goal is something like have stronger relationships with all the families within 6 months, that's an absolutely great goal. But how are you going to determine whether or not those relationships are stronger? One member of the team might say, oh yeah, we have stronger relationships with everybody. And another member of the team might say, no, I don't feel that we've made any progress at all. And you don't have a numeric measure. So you want to think about how to make this much, much more concrete. And this is the part that is challenging for people. So think about numeric measures, ways that you can quantify the progress that you want to make in order to make it really clear whether you've succeeded or not. Like, each family will be contacted at least once a week with good news for the next 6 months. That is very measurable, and it would be very easy to say, yes, we did that, or no, we didn't do it.